Good morning, everyone. Brent here. I've got Alex on camera with me this morning. Andrew's in FC and Brian and Scott on the other vehicle. And we've got a nice little breeding herd of elephants to start the morning. We've got a big cow feeding on a buffalo thorn in front of us. And just to the left there's I can't see whether it's a young boy or girl. There's two youngsters coming out to the left. A young girl in the front and a little boy, being very much a little boy, showing us how big and strong he is. They're very cute. He's practicing for when he's big and when he's really scary. So the adults is browsing, using leaves, and the two youngsters are still grazing. It's quite interesting to watch how he picks certain grass species out from the others. He's also picking the grass species that have still got quite a bit of green in them. My dash. And see the sun is slowly coming up behind the ellies, but there's quite a bit of cloud this morning. Always also love the way how they clean the dust off the grass before they eat it. Copy, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to join you there after I've finished with these in Glove. Oops, sorry. So, let me just let you guys know what the plan is for this morning so far. We were on our way to follow up on Kunyuma, to see if there'd been any update around where you had that bushbuck kill in the tree. And Scott was tracking those two lost members of the Lion Pride, just see if we could follow up a bit on that story, see if possibly that the rest of the pride might have come back to the south, or they've crossed north, to see if they can join up with them. Oh, cheeky little boy. So what we'll do is we'll let the elephants move past us. We don't want to start the car and possibly agitate them. They're very, very relaxed at the moment. So we'll just wait quietly while the ellies carry on their way. Here we go. Big scary. Oh, okay, big scary. So that cow there is feeding off a buffalo thorn, which is one of our only evergreens here. And it's quite an important browse species, especially as we start getting drier and drier. Now the thing that's amazing about that is another name for it is a weighted thorn. It's got a straight and a hooked thorn that are incredibly sharp, that if we had to walk through it, we would be in a lot of pain. And yet we're watching her take all those thorns, pop them into her mouth. Oh, here we go. Yes, we see you, little man. Okay guys, so I don't think the Ellies are going to move too much. So what we're going to do is, I've heard that another vehicle has come and checked on the last position of Kunyuma. So we're going to go have a look there, see if there's anything interesting, just to double check on him and keep up with the story, so to speak, because we've been following him since the day he made the kill, so it makes sense to stick with him. So we're going to leave the elephants to carry on foraging and see if we can see what's happening with Kunyuma. So when we start the car, they might react a little bit. Run for a few seconds so they don't get a fight when we start moving. And with your movement with the elephants, you always want to try to keep it slow and steady as to not incite any possible aggression. You don't want to rev the vehicle too much. What a great way to start. Leaving Toro at Vulture's Nest Central Junction open lock. So the sun's already starting to burn off some of the cloud. So I think it is going to get quite warm today again. Though it is a bit fresh this morning. So we're nearly in that position of Kunyuma. Be interesting to see if the hyena's still hanging around waiting for him to make a slip up and drop some of the carcass for her. Watch your head there, Alex. Well, there he is. Sorry? Has he gone up to the top or is he going to the tree? Okay. Copy, thanks. So Kunyuma's just up to the right of us here, and the hyena seems to still be in the position. Let's just try and skip up this hill. There we go. Good morning, Mr. Kunyuma. There he is. Still a little bit of beat left on the kill, but not much. So it's possible that he's probably going to leave this area this afternoon. It's amazing the patience of those hyenas to hang around with very little reward for a few days. But there is always a possibility the leopard will make a mistake and drop the kill. Ready on the tree, he might climb.
Morning.
Morning. How are you guys this morning? Not too bad. Where is he? Is he behind the tree yet?
Yes.
Yeah, we've just lost sight of him for the moment. I'll just keep checking. Oh, there he is. You got him to the left of the tree, Alex? Yep, just behind that tree there. You just catch the rosette. See the white tip of his tail there? Yeah, not much left. I think he might even be on his way out.
Make life a little bit easier.
Yep. Poor hyena. 3 days of waiting.
He was munching on some bones here, but that's about it.
Yesterday, she was literally looking up and drooling as he was feeding.
Salivating. You'll see again, very watchful of where that hyena is. Always just glancing over.
I'm going to try and go up from the top, see if he pops up.
I'm going to have to do a massive turn around to go out the way I came.
The joys of the short wheelbase. We can turn on a tikkie. Oops. Oh, nearly. Oh, we got a stick stuck in the wheel arch. Hopefully it'll come out now. There we go. So there's very, very little left of that kill, and it's possible that he might move away from it now. You okay there, Alex? So he's moved up to the top of the bank, and we're going to try and get around there now. So guys, I've just got a message from Andrew in FC. We're experiencing some difficulty. He's not able to get onto Twitter or onto email, so he's not actually getting any of your questions at the moment. Just hang on, I'm going to pass the radio to Alex. So he is trying to fix that, and he will, as soon as he can, he will try to sort that out. Copy, thanks. I'm going to try relocate now. Oh, he's up the tree. It's very strange. He's climbing up the tree. He's got nothing to do with what he had to kill. I can't see if maybe the hyena pushed him up the tree, or he's just climbing. Oh, excuse me. That's quite a small tree. It's quite impressive he's got up that high. I wonder what he's up to. Can't see if there's another. There's definitely not another kill up there. Almost looks like he wants to get to the dead section where it's very open. You can have a look around. Sorry about the clicking, guys, just my camera. Well, if he gets out into one of those really open branches on that tree, it's going to be a fantastic sighting. I think he is quite quickly becoming one of my favorites here at Djuma. He's got quite a lot of personality. With his hissing. I mean, that shows you just an idea how agile leopards are. I mean, that tree initially went up as not a big tree, and then he sort of crossed the tree on the smallest branches. There we go. Isn't that amazing, guys? Just come wide. I'm going to take it a bit wider so you can show you. He's climbed up a dead leadwood. Oh, and I think a monkey spotted him from a tree. Yep, I can see the monkey down there. The monkey spotted him. Wow, isn't that unbelievably beautiful? No, the monkeys at the top of the other trees have managed to spot him from a distance. Right, and he's climbed into the top of that dead leadwood. It is a quite impressive sight, eh? Hey, Fim. Yeah, the background is a bit light, so it's quite difficult. The sun is actually is rising behind him. And you can hear all the monkeys. You can actually see them at the tops of the trees off to the right. Spotted him. Oh, he's going higher. Wow, this is amazing. Almost looks like he's doing it just for fun. But more than likely it's so you can get a better view of what's around, even though he has given away his presence to the monkeys. I mean, that shows you, I mean, his climbing ability is amazing. I mean, he's climbed into a dead leadwood tree here. And he knows which branches he can stand on and which ones he can't. I mean, he's a good 10 meters off the ground. Sorry about all the clicking, but this is just such a fantastic sighting, guys. Can't resist. I mean, look at him. He's going along one of those tiny little branches. The whole tree's wobbling. Whoa! Oh, the monkeys are getting even more upset with him now.
No, they're in the back trees over there.
Yeah.
No, just went for a climb. I think maybe they've got a nice spot too.
And he's going to go back through that very small tree he came through. I mean, he's walking on tiny branches. To see, is he going to take the slow way or the fast way down? I've got a feeling he's going to come out quite fast. He might jump out to the left. Now there we go. He's down. Huh. That was incredible, guys. I mean, can you believe he just decided to climb up the most wonderful, picturesque tree in the whole area for us? So we're gonna hang around here a bit longer if he is sort of in this mood where he's fiddling around and climbing trees, and don't think he's gonna go back to the kill. Maybe he might head off to that pan where we saw him drink the other night. Or we could do what most big cats do best and sleep. No, it was nice, yeah.
It's a different thing if one of those branches had snapped.
Yep.
Put that theory to the test, the cats land on their feet. And then pause.
Go come with Andrew this stream. Tell him what's going on. Check it.
Andrew coming. Just Andrew, confirm you've got tweets and whatnot coming back. Okay, copy, thanks. So guys, I'm still trying to figure out why we can't get your tweets or emails. They are working on it. Very strange. We've got ghosts that live on the internet out in the bush, and they like to fiddle with things just for fun, just to keep us on our toes.
Gone back down.
No, he's still there. But now he's moving. We're just gonna wait for Craig to move out, and then we will move again.
We need to get Stephen from Djuma Radio Services to the date entrance list.
Enjoy, guys. I'm not hearing him.
Not sure.
Not 100% sure on the time yet. Stephen from Djuma Radio Services. Where is he disappeared to now? No. It's going to be quite some maneuvering to turn around here, so just give me a second, guys. Are we behind us? Looks like he might have gone down again. We'll have a look from the top first and see if we need to head back down into that drainage line again. He's giving me a good arm workout here with all these tight corners. Can you spot him up there, Alex? You're a bit higher than me. He went down here. He's possibly lying in the drainage line again. Oh, it's disappeared. Let's go back down to the bottom and have a look if we can see from the bottom. Just double check here quickly. Go up the tree? No, he didn't. Sneaky leopard. He's not lying at the base of that tree. No, we'll have to go around to have a look. Good morning, Jane. It seems like some of our emails are coming through. So we are getting some comms with you. Good morning, Jane. Jane would like to know if it's possible that Kunyuma could become the dominant male and take over his father's territory. Well, Jane, anything's possible, but I would say that's highly unlikely. I don't think his father will, or Mvula, the dominant male in this area, will probably tolerate him for too much longer at the age he is now before actually pushing him away. So, I mean, it is possible, but it is highly unlikely. But wasn't that a special sighting? It's not often that you see leopards do that, and I mean, in such a perfect tree. It is so incredible we do get to spend as much time as we do with these animals. See the hyena still sleeping in the drainage line directly in front of me. Good morning, Amnes. We're just going to have a quick look at the hyena while I try spot where Kunyuma might be. There's the hyena. I'm just going to keep looking. Okay, so he came down. The last place we saw him was just to the right of that tree. Where is he gone? See, it is quite possible he might have snuck off in a direction we didn't see. The patience of a hyena. We're waiting for him to make a mistake, but there's almost. Right, let's just go forward. Let's show the viewers what's left of the kill. There's very, very little left now. Just a couple of bones and hooves, tiny little bit of meat on some of the legs, but I mean, very, very little that would keep a leopard here now. So the hyena's been waiting for some of those scraps to fall, but to no avail. Okay, so let's see if we can spot if Kunyuma is sleeping up in one of these thickets here. But I mean, that was such an awesome start to the morning. I mean, he must have got up to about 12, 15 meters above the ground. Yeah, I reckon he went higher than the kill. Because he's over quite a drop there. Okay. So the last place we saw him was just up here. It's almost impossible. Where could he have disappeared to? Let's just sit quietly for a second. I'm just going to try. Look very carefully in under all these bushes. Just gonna put my nose up here a little bit. There's some bushes I can't really see under just at the moment. But to give you an idea, if you look directly in front of us, the last place we saw him was at the base of that tree. And it looked like he came straight down towards where we are now. Let's just stop and have another look. I mean, when a leopard doesn't want to be seen, he doesn't want to be seen. It's amazing when you start looking like this, every little patch of shadow starts looking like rosettes. Guys, while we try to find which bush Kunyuma is hiding behind, we're going to cross to Scott so he can say good morning and give you an update on what he's following up on. So we're going to cross over to Scott.
Good morning and welcome to the Jigger. Myself and Brian have been on a bit of a wild goose chase this morning. There've been leopard tracks, lion tracks and wild dog tracks all in the same area. Sadly, all of which appear to have crossed out of our boundary. So, a little bit frustrating knowing that all these different predators were right here in this area where we're driving now. But sadly, they've all moved off. That's not a problem though, and it sounds like Brent's been showing you a good time so far this morning with a herd of elephants and Kunyuma, so not a bad way to start the day. But myself and Brian have been a little bit less fortunate. Always such good fun though following tracks, so we're happy that at least the animals are around, and hopefully a wild dog will pop back onto our property. We haven't had any sign of them since we saw them about a week ago. But we'll continue driving on our northern boundary, which is where both the lion and the wild dog have apparently crossed, and another game viewer with the tracker has seen the tracks crossing out there, so we'll take their word for it. But nonetheless, it's worth heading into that area, as any of those animals could quite easily cross back south, back onto our property. It's a beautiful morning out here, so weather-wise we can't complain. There's a bit of cloud cover for now, which will hopefully keep us cool, but there is a chance the sun may burn off this thin layer of clouds. Myself and Brian were chatting about the fact that there was lion tracks, wild dog tracks and leopard tracks all in the same vicinity, and you can't help but wonder whether they've bumped into one another. And it certainly does happen. They all try and avoid it, well, especially lion and leopard will avoid bumping into lion at all costs. But it does happen, and it would be really interesting to know what unfolded last night. So go ahead, Andrew. Andrew, are you trying to say something? Okay. I think it's highly possible that the two Kunyuma Pride members, the young male and the young female that we viewed both yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon. Brent's had an interesting sighting with them, especially the young male embarrassing himself trying to catch a buffalo, but not doing a very good job at it, I hear. And I saw some of the screenshots and heard the story from Brent. It sounded quite amusing. Anyway, the good news is I'm guessing that they have reconnected with their pride, which did kind of sneak into the corner of our property, and tracks of the two individuals that had lost the pride were heading in the same direction where we have found tracks of the rest of the pride. So they have in all likelihood joined up, which is good news for those two youngsters. Oh, some baboons. Just going to try and get into a spot. Sadly, they often run away from us, but just going to... Okay, well, we'll stop here and let Brian try and catch them running across the road. There's another one coming, Brian, so just stay on the road. There's a lot more coming across. If you just stay on the road, you'll probably get them all darting across. There was a baby riding on its mother's back, which will be entertaining to see. And I'm sure they'll pop out. Here they come. Look at how cute that is. There's one or two more coming through. Sadly, due to the fact that baboons have realized that they can acquire food from us humans, be it from badly made rubbish dumps that are not baboon proof, and the fact that a lot of guests at lodges, despite being told not to feed them, will often feed the monkeys from their rooms, the privacy of their rooms, and therefore a negative relationship has been created between humans and baboons, because they do create a huge problem for the lodges. That's a crested francolin that just popped out onto the road. So it's a good lesson for everyone that when you're told not to feed the animals, there's a reason for it, and it's quite simple. If wild animals begin to rely or understand that they can get food from us humans. So there's just a spider web that I'm just going to remove there quickly. As soon as they do realize that they can get food from us, they're often a lot smarter and quicker than us, and can start making our lives a misery, and therefore result in the humans either needing to kill the animals or chase them off, and create a negative relationship between one another. So don't feed the animals when you're not supposed to, because if that hadn't have happened, we would have enjoyed a sighting of baboons this morning. But because it has, as you can see, they weren't interested in hanging around for us. Ah, a herd of elephants. Wonderful. would you like me to pick him up from? Yeah, please do, not copying anything. Copy. There's tracks of a Pride that head towards Aubrey's Road from Sandy Patch. We're till Access Junction. And oh no, here are the rest of the tracks of the Pride. So I think they came into the corner of our property and then have crossed back into Buffalo's Hook. Anyway, I'm driving Buffalo's Hook cut line now towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. Copy, thank you. You can tell them tracks head east along Buffalo's Hook cut line towards, or east from Aubrey's Junction. It really is phenomenal how the elephants come and go through this area. Just going to reposition ever so slightly because they're about to cross over the road and it'll be a beautiful sight. So I just need to get the vehicle in a position that allows Brian to point his weapon at them. As I was saying, it is really phenomenal how the elephant numbers have increased. Literally just yesterday they seemed to arrive in their masses after not being around for a few days or a few weeks. So good to have some elephants back, and it is normal for them to move huge distances. They're not bound to a territory, so they come and go. And obviously it's sad when they're gone and we're happy when they're here. So life is good for us, and there's a lot of elephants around at the moment. And we're certainly going to make the most of that. What was the final updates on Kunyuma, please? Is the kill finished? Okay, copy, thank you. Copy, thank you. Sorry, Brian, I'm not giving you much to work with here. There's a couple maybe in front of us that would... They seem like they are in no hurry this morning and are moving exceptionally slowly. Just fair enough, they could well have spent a lot of time feeding last night. They don't sleep throughout the night and will certainly spend time feeding. They split their sleep up and often kind of have half at night and half during the heat of the day. As a very rough rule, they could have 3 or 4 different siestas throughout the day. It all depends on the herd, the amount of food around, the temperature. But now they're popping out into the gap that I was hoping they would, and the sunlight is directly behind us, so we're going to get some great shots shortly. Not easy when there's so much going on, especially when there's only small windows to film, so Brian finds an animal in a gap and it lasts a few seconds and then it disappears behind a bush and then needs to find another one in another gap. Appear to be popping into the biggest gap, but really in dribs and drabs, and that's crossing the road. You'll notice the wildebeest standing further down beyond them in the middle of the road looking towards us. Beautiful. And this is the last 2 of this herd, and we'll leave them to it. But what I'm going to ask Brian to do is just to pan across onto the other side of the road and show you the tracks of the animals that we are hoping to find a little bit later. And in this beautiful morning sunlight, you can see how the shadow is cast, therefore making it easier for us to see the track when the sun is low. Now, if the sun was directly above us, we wouldn't be getting that shadow cast on certain sides of the track, therefore making them almost invisible on the road. And they do continue straight down the road in an easterly direction, and that is what we intend to follow, in the same direction we intend to head on. You can see there's more than one line in there, there's tracks everywhere, indicating to us that it's a pride. It's a long road, and they could veer off to the left, which wouldn't mean good things for us, because we cannot go to the left, but if they cut off to the right, we will do our best to track them down. And well done on the camera there, Brian, as always. veered off down this road to the left, which they have, it appears, and that's not good prospects for us, because as I just did mention moments ago, that's no-go zone for us. And there's Brian showing you there. They are heading in the wrong direction. Anyway, we will continue. And maybe they would have come back onto this road. There's no way of telling what these animals will do, and they often surprise us with their movements. Tracks of what looked to be a large male leopard have popped out onto the road here. Just make sure that that's exactly what it is. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like a large male leopard, and judging from the area that we're in here, it could well be Mvula. He often patrols this road in scent marks as he goes down it. So, good prospects there. And just as we thought we were out of luck with tracks, the lion disappeared in the wrong direction and the leopard appeared to pop up in the perfect spot for us. It's a tricky road this, so I just need to drive slowly to make sure I don't miss any tracks. There's also tracks of the wild dog here, which is great. Great prospects, so things are looking up. But both the leopard and the wild dog do move huge distances, and especially the wild dog, they can move huge distances in a very short space of time. So they could be anywhere now. Now, when we follow tracks, it's a tricky thing to do, especially when we're live, because it does require a lot of concentration. But also something about tracking is that you cannot follow each individual footprint. You need to almost get an idea from a set of tracks, i.e. that they're heading in an easterly direction like these, and then keep leapfrogging ahead and see whether the tracks do continue. The nice thing is about a long straight road like this is we can use the binoculars to scan ahead and make sure none of the characters we may be looking for are actually just walking down the road ahead of us. Copy that. The tracks of Slampengala head north at the Hadako access off the cut line. There's tracks of Mafazi and Madora Ingwe and Buffalo's cut line here heading east, quite close to Central Road, I think. So now a female leopard's just popped up into the equation as well. So I can't see the male tracks anymore, but now I can see tracks of a female. I wonder if it's Karula. Possibly, I've never seen her up here, but it could well be her. So we're getting absolutely spoilt with a lot of different tracks this morning. But as exciting as it can be, it can also be frustrating, because if you've got tracks of animals and don't find them, then you've only got yourself to blame, I guess. Small road junction here that I'd like to check to make sure this leopard hasn't veered off. They, just like humans, like to take the path of least resistance, and therefore the road networks provide them with that opportunity. even though the tracks of the leopard headed out of our property, I knew there was a little water hole there, and I just couldn't resist checking to see if she wasn't lying up at the water's edge, which she wasn't. On the way there were some buffalo tracks and very fresh buffalo dung, so I was ready to run for my life if there was a buffalo there waiting for me instead of the leopard. Well, let me know when you're sure about it. Okay, well, let's cut across to Brent and see what he's been up to for the last little while. Maybe he has been having a little bit more luck than myself and Brian. And we will continue heading down this road and hopefully bump into something. Until then, enjoy what Brent has for you.
Welcome back, guys. We've bumped into another nice breeding herd of ellies. Oh, get rid of that dust. I think that's more of a show for us than anything else. Another little boy. Didn't really need to swing the creeper around that much before eating it. Scott coming. I just didn't know there's tracks of the Madash cross east, cheetah, cat lion, buffalo's hook, and there were tracks from fuzzy ingwe heading west from that same position. Copy, thanks. Sounds like there's some more elephants off to the left as well. But I can just see a tree moving in the distance. So quite interesting. I know some of you have heard me say it before, but the way elephants feed depending on the season. So during the rainy season, they feed probably about 80% of their diet consists of grass, whereas during the dry season it's switches, and 80% of their diet consists of browse and only 20% grass. And then so wet season 20% browse and 80% grass. Good morning, Donna from Niagara Falls. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Donna would like to know, when is an elephant able to take care of itself without its mother? Well, with male elephants, they're sort of pushed out in their early teens, sort of around between 12 and 15. They're probably able to fend for themselves in terms of what to eat and where to find water before that. But with the females, they stay with the matriarchal herd. And though they hit sexual maturity around the same age, about 15 years old, they will stay with the matriarchal herd. So they stay with their mother. So it would probably be in the early teens that they are able to. But the males will, and the females won't. We've got some more elephants coming in from the other side of us, making lots of noise coming through the round leaf teak. Oh, she's got a very young baby with her. So, for those of you who haven't been on drive with us that often, you know what we do in this situation. We can't actually move the vehicle because that might incite aggression with the elephants. So even though they are quite close to us, their body language is just warning us that they are very big animals, and that we shouldn't mess with them. But as long as we keep still and calm, and you'll notice I try to keep my voice at a very level tone, and that's just to not incite any aggression. If they do come too close, I will change and I might start shouting at them. But at the moment, I'm just trying to reassure them with the sound of my voice that we're not a threat. Oh, it's quite a big herd. Lots more coming through. Some more little babies. Oh, little tiny one. So as you can see, when they come out of the thick bush and they just see us, they get a little lift their heads and whatnot. But you can see, as you see now, they've calmed down quite a bit. See, there we go. See, now a lot of people would have started the car and tried to reverse away in a hurry, and all you would have done was teach that animal how to chase cars. Scott, I'm copying you. I'm just going to stand by with these ellies for a while. Which area would you like to work? Copy, yeah, you're more than welcome. I'll fiddle around Cheetah Cut line towards the Moriarty, maybe around Twin Dams. I might go back and follow them and just saw those ellies. The Madash tracks are on top of them, so I'm not sure whether it's worthwhile. Well, see where we can get a view of the ellies for a bit longer, but I'm not going to follow them into the thickets, especially since there's so many young calves with that herd. Sorry? Oh, Alex has lost his pillow. Okay, can you grab it, or do you want me to jump out? Bit more. Jeez, I thought we were being charged by an elephant there. I just heard this. Alex pushing his fingers, and all it was his pillow.
Not mine.
Oh, not his. Brian's pillow. Oh, we would have been in trouble if we'd lost Brian or Andrew's pillow. Good save. There we go. That's the last one of the herd. You can see it's quite thick behind them there. And crashing around a herd with that many young ones, when there's no need to off-road, we had such a great sighting with them right in front of the vehicle. We'll just wait for this one to join the rest, and then I'm going to go back and have a look. We found some female leopard tracks a little bit earlier, but then we spotted the ellies. Oh, there's some more coming out. Let me just move the car. Looks like two young boys. So right on the periphery of the herd, they're at that stage where they're quite boisterous and full of testosterone. So they can cause quite a bit of trouble, so they get pushed towards the edges of the herd before being completely pushed out of the herd. Okay, and we'll leave the ellies be. Go back and just follow up for a short while on those female leopard tracks. Oh wait, looks like those two young boys are having a wrestle. No, false alarm. Oh, or is he sneaking up for a surprise attack from behind? Yep. Playing in the round leaf teak. To see if he tries another sneak attack. Oh, disappearing into the round leaf tick. Just you see that on the road there, Alex? Way ahead. Just stand by one. Just gonna see what that is quickly. No, up on the next hill. A bit higher. Up there. Is that just a branch? Oh, just a branch. False alarm. I thought I had pulled off over a kilometre spot of lions, but no such luck. So we've still got the female leopard tracks here. These first tracks look very fresh. To Nyoni, Buffelshoek Cutline, Buffelshoek East. Oh, we still got the leopard tracks. Still got the tracks? Njani? Akhona mfo. Ubone ihluthu. Hayi nkonzo yabafazi yamadash yafamba. La from Buffelshoek Torchwood yafamba east. Yep. Okay, well, let me just double check now. It's going to be a little bit harder. There's been another car down the road now. And that's just a maintenance vehicle. So they weren't looking for tracks. Check very carefully. Go ahead. Copy, I will do. I think these tracks we're following might be the same ones you had around Timbweti Dam. Hey guys, so the tracks have crossed into the north into Buffelshoek. So we're gonna leave the area. Copy that. So we're gonna head back down towards the east. Sorry, one second guys. Just tracks of my dash went east at Buffelshoek Torchwood corner with Vertella. I copied that message. I'm on my way there. Alex says, Andrew, what's glitching and where? Morning guys, we just heard we are glitching apparently, so we're going to cut across to Scott while we try to fix the problem. So over to Scott.
Welcome back, and still no major updates from myself and Brian. Copy that. Good plan. And myself and Brian are planning on heading to the hyena den sites because it is a good opportunity. There's not too much else going on, and we've had so much other action over the last week or so that we haven't managed to find time to spend as much time as we would have liked at the hyena den site, which is really a fascinating situation, and it's something that's not always available for us to enjoy. So this is a good opportunity for us to head back there and see what's going on. I'm just going to let the guys on the Game Drive channel know that that's our plan, because there is only one vehicle allowed in that sighting at a time, because it's a sensitive sighting. There's little cubs and you don't want to cram too many vehicles in there, so that rather than scaring the cubs from a young age, we can slowly get them used to the vehicles. And that's one factor. The other factor is that if 3 vehicles were there, it would mean that if any dangerous scenario was to unfold, the vehicles may act as buffers, preventing the hyena from knowing what's going on. The stations, I'd like to make my way towards the hyena den site of Rebecca's Zoe's. Quite bizarre, the weather this morning. As soon as the sun, well, it's not bizarre, but it's as soon as the sun disappears behind a cloud, it really drastically drops in temperature, whereas when the sun pops out, it increases quite drastically. Now I kind of try to revert saying that it was bizarre. Obviously it's going to be warmer when the sun is out than when it's not, but it's considerably so this morning.
Unusual weather.
Unusual weather. And the clouds that are building could mean business. By business I mean rainy business, which really would be so wonderful for the environment here. It's considerably drier than it should be at this time of the year. So all of the herbivores would enjoy it, and even for us, it would clean the environment, it would be less dusty, and we'd be able to provide you with crisper, clearer images after a deluge of rain. It may mean that we will have trouble broadcasting if it does rain during the drive time, but just got a question through from Ellen. Morning, Ellen. And Ellen's asking if we've heard any updates on the elephant that Brent saw with what looked like a prolapsed uterus. And no, sadly we haven't heard anything about her or seen any sign of her. So can't comment on anything there. And it would be interesting to know what does happen. And we'll be sure to let you know, Ellen, if she does pop up. There's a big old buffalo bull, a really fine specimen that is walking towards the road here, so I'm just going to creep forward and try and find a gap. He's just disappeared, but should be popping out shortly. And I think could well have a drink at a little pond where we watched some elephants drinking yesterday, but we'll wait here for him and see what he decides to do. Well, for those of you who were watching last night, you may have a newfound respect for buffalo. That young male lion was just a few meters behind one, and it was too nervous to jump on the buffalo's back. And when the buffalo turned around and realized there was this teenager lion snooping around behind him, the buffalo just snorted at it and eventually chased it away. And you can tell by the way he's looking at us that he's probably thinking the same thing about us now. They're not the most welcoming of animals, the buffalo. Probably one of the most dangerous to encounter on foot. Even this old boy, even though his horns have become very blunt towards the tips and worn down over the years, he's still got so much immense power that if they crashed into you, you would essentially be crushed. Very, very tough animals, the buffalo. And that's why they're part of the Big Five. So a lot of people often wonder why the Big Five consists of the animal that it does consist of. And that's because back in the days when big game hunting was very popular in Africa, the 5 most dangerous animals to hunt were those that became members of the Big Five. So it's got nothing to do with size. The name can be misleading. It's got to do with danger when hunting. And let's be honest, whether you're hunting animals or just walking on foot and looking at them, they can often present that same level of danger to you. As we assumed, he is going to hopefully pop down to this little water hole and have a drink, possibly wallow. Beautiful.
And that's a good one, right?
Copy that, wonderful. Brent, maybe you can try out the radios with Ryan now that he's crossing back over to that channel. I think 3 is the initial one, but it's both of those channels are Arethusa channels. Alex knows the finer details. Well, incredible how much action the water holes are already beginning to provide us with. Not even 24 hours ago that we spent an hour here watching elephants playing around and drinking. And now there's a big Cape buffalo, and I wonder what's come into this area between the elephants and the Cape buffalo. I did mention yesterday it would be wonderful to have a camera trap that detonates by movements of animals moving through the viewfinder to establish exactly who did pass through here in the evening. And interestingly enough, he's just interestingly enough, he's just popped up close to a hole where the elephants were drinking out of yesterday. And it'll be interesting to see what he tries to do and whether he can smell fresher water within that little hole. It's just down to his right, our left, the bottom left of the screen. And the elephants drank and queued to drink out of that specific hole yesterday. And somebody did ask whether other animals would also try and drink out of it, but I did even mention that if a buffalo were to try, its horns would probably get in the way. This guy thankfully is missing the tips of his horns, so he may have a small chance, but I still think he will not fit his head in there. As if he's just had his hooves polished after glistening in from that watery sheen. A few people are asking whether the elephants did indeed tap into the water pipes by digging this hole here, and it doesn't appear that they did, because we could still have a shower when we got home last night. So this could just be a natural spring that they've, not a spring, but by digging into that area they'll access slightly fresher water that hasn't been contaminated by animals like buffalo and even elephants themselves defecating in the water. Oh. Now look at that, a beautiful woodlands kingfishers just behind the buffalo, and it did just pop into the water for a bath, so it may do the same thing again to wet its feathers in order to try and clean itself. Yeah, it looks like it's getting ready. Oh, there the kingfisher went for one last little swim. Tammy's just asked whether this water, well, that we as humans certainly wouldn't drink this water, and yes, we wouldn't, but I'm sure people have drunk this kind of water before in desperate scenarios, and this kind of water may, if there's no water around, be better than no water, Tammy. So in survival situations, you'll find that humans have drunk water that you would never imagine drinking, but certainly better than nothing. And Tammy, then further to Tammy's question was that, would water ever pose a threat to wild animals? And unlikely, unless it's contaminated with some kind of a virus or disease. Animals will be able to drink the most unbearable of water and eat the most rancid and rotting meat for the carnivores. They're exceptionally resilient wild animals, and we as humans have become weak over the years, whereas animals have regained their strength of living in the wilderness. Simply the fact of thinking about how clean and sterile the lives some people live, especially in first world countries, that is why I'm told that there are so many weaknesses that are coming through in children these days, being allergic to many different things that didn't happen years ago when, as kids, humans were naturally exposed to more dirt and bacteria and therefore built immune systems to it. Now, from a young age, humans are living such a sterile life that their bodies do not build up any immunity and therefore become weak and intolerant to things such as even drinking water and eating various food types. Wouldn't it be nice to know what's going through his head? On emails asking what would cause these tears in the buffalo's ears, and it would in all likelihood be when buffaloes are fighting, and clashing horns will split the ear with relative ease when they're going at it, a full-scale battle. I think that would be the major cause in the tear in buffalo's ears, but occasionally I guess if running through thick vegetation away from lion, they could cause tears in their ears from branches. But certainly more likely than anything else would be them at battle with one another. Accurate theory, but it is a theory that the only theory that I've got for you, Shanae. It's something that also exists even on cats and dogs. A lot of the time, a dew claw. It doesn't provide any major function, but it still is there. And interestingly enough, even on snakes, there's a small claw that can be found on pythons, for example, close to their anus, which again was a vestigial claw from once when snakes did have limbs. So a lot of interesting theories on how animals have evolved. And well noted there, Shanae, and I need to do some research on that. Well, we're going to leave this boy here to chew the cud, and we're going to continue on to the hyena den site before it gets too hot, and hopefully find some action there.
want to encounter some old Roman Christians. If you want to encounter disappeared there. Because you like to encounter some more way back in the manner in that song, some manner in the airstrip. I'm checking the airstrip now. They want me to come from the north. Are you headed for? Do you want me to check in where the north? I can take him for that, but that looks like he's from a church.
Now that it's heating up, it's time to start scanning the skies for any birds of prey or eagles that may have started to ride the hot air thermals that will be rising up off the earth. That will allow them for effortless and easy flights. So that's something to look out for. Just the other day we got really lucky with some great bateleur viewing, and Brian managed to do a great job in showing you both a male and a female of that same species. Also, just to keep you updated on plans for what Mark's up to. Mark's going to be making his way back to Djuma today, not to report to duty. He'll probably be on drive tomorrow for the first time, but he's coming back today, which is great, and chatted to him briefly yesterday. He's had a very good leave, so look forward to having him back. And that's something to look forward to for a lot of the viewers who have been following Mark for many years. Mark's been a presenter for Wild Earth for I don't know how many years, but a long time now, so a lot of the viewers have got to know him very well, and you'll be happy to hear that he'll be back soon. I'll then be heading off for leave on Sunday down to Cape Town to write an exam for a guiding certificate that allows you to guide people around the city, a cultural and history guide, which will just be something useful for me to have going forward. I'm not sure when I'm going to use it, but I thought it would be a useful qualification to have under my belt, so I've been busy studying for that in between drives. And Cape Town really does have some incredible history and culture dating back to the 1600s or even before that, really. But it is where South Africa did start to grow as a country, and languages were created there, and a lot of interesting stuff that I didn't know about, which is quite embarrassing as a South African, so it's been great to learn about the history and culture of the Cape. And we're busy trying to work out a plan for Brian and Andrew to have a break. Brian's been here for a very, very long time without a break, so we're making a plan to potentially get VM, the cameraman from the production in November, December and January back, so it'll be great to have VM back on the team, and potentially even Jason, aka Romeo, will come back and help out. He's busy studying at university now, so isn't very flexible, but we're going to try and sneak him up for a week or two. So there will be a few people coming and going, and hopefully a few old faces returning. This is the road down to the hyena den sites, and in just a few minutes we'll know whether we're lucky or not. I fear that it may be a little bit hot. We may have missed the prime time to be here, but worth a try nonetheless. Not looking good, eh, Brian? Not looking good. Okay, well, sadly, it looks like nobody's home. And as I did mention just a few moments ago, it could simply be that we're a little bit late. The mother may have come back to the den sites and allowed the cubs to nurse, or several mothers may have already come back. There's different litters of cubs within this den site, but they may have already come back, allowed the cubs to suckle, and then moved off so that they can relax. It's not uncommon for hyena to move away from the den sites, not far, just a couple hundred meters, and lie up in the shade. Otherwise their cubs would simply harass them for the whole day and not allow them to get any sleep, and also probably consume too much milk. So the adults have to control that by leaving the den sites every now and then. The flies are really beginning to be a bit of a nuisance, and that's why I keep swatting my hand over my face. I've got a friend, I've got a fan in the form of a fly. Not the kind of fans we're hoping for out here, but they serve their purpose. Even the flies have got a role to do out here, and without flies there would be a lot of waste, and they're so important in decomposing the last bits of kills. Go ahead. Andrew, could you please relay that? Okay, copy. Did you come there off the southern boundary? Okay, copy. And any news on the radio? Do the channel. Oh, wonderful. And just out of curiosity, Brent, are you copying me 5 out of 5 now? Because I'm only getting you 1 or 2 out of 5. Okay, copy, thanks. Sorry about that, but the radio technician's coming back today to sort out our radios, and it doesn't matter where you work in the bush, at every lodge I've been at, radios tend to prove to be a nightmare, and they're such critical tools that we're trying our best to fine-tune them. And interestingly enough, now when I speak to Brent, he can hear me clearly, but when he speaks back to me, I can't hear him. So it's a funny little bizarre scenario.
Start and end your day on safari.
Standing by. None of us are sure, well certainly not me, but Alex and Andrew and Brian have spent time in the final control room. I'm not sure what could have caused this latest crash, but at least it's managed to resolve itself. And here we are, continuing on the search for anything interesting. Plan is now to head down towards Treehouse Dam, where Brent has just come from, and there was nothing there, but that could change in just a matter of minutes. So you can head down there, and from there head to Twin Dams. All is that it is getting hot, but that's my only kind of feeling that I've got that may provide us with something interesting to look at. White-crested helmet shrikes, it's a bird I often try and show you. They're one of my favorites, but sadly they're not very bold and tend to fly off quite often. Although, come on guys. No, not interested. During which I'll write an exam on Monday and then drive up from Cape Town to Durban. It's kind of a 2-day drive if you do it comfortably. And my car is down in Cape Town. Confirm from us or from Brent? Thanks, bro. So, those are our plans. Drive up from Cape Town to Joburg, to Durban, which is the hometown that I grew up in, where my parents live. And I haven't seen my parents since October, so it'll be good to see them again. And then spend a few days in Durban. Only my family, my parents, but also my friends that I haven't seen for a long time. So I'm not going anywhere for good, not yet, and really loving being part of the Wild Earth team, and wonder where this journey will take us, or individually and as a whole. It's a great concept, and I look forward to watching it continue to grow. Okay, now I've just seen a flock of European bee-eaters fly off, and I can see which tree they're sitting in. Brian's locked onto it there, and I've just stopped at the wrong moment, but there you can see them sitting. They're very pretty birds. Now we're going to try and get a little bit closer to them to try and show you a better view. Incredible to think that they have come all the way from Mediterranean Europe for our summer. They probably won't be here much longer before they head off. Okay, we're in stealth mode now, creeping up. That's possible in a vehicle, but we are doing our best to creep up as slowly as possible. Oh, well, there goes one already. There goes another one, and more, and they all go. Well, couldn't have gone much slower approaching those European bee-eaters, and that's how it is out here. Sometimes you just don't get to see sightings as well as you'd like to, and that's what keeps us going out on a daily basis, because eventually you do get lucky and do get those cracking sightings of various different animals, not only the lions and the leopards, but even little birds like that. So copy, it's my new friend, and that's where it likes to sit. Andrew in the final control just sent through a message saying that there's a fly on my forehead, and there is, but I've been chasing it away for so long now that I've given up and just come to terms with the fact that if it would like to sit on my head, it can. Rather than swatting permanently throughout the drive, I'm just going to let this fly do as it pleases for a moment. Possibly might need to adopt the hat system or style of hat that they have in Australia, where they'll have corks dangling on little strings around the brim of the hats, and that way you don't have to use your hands. The corks naturally, as your head moves, chases away any flies.
Not ideal for safari.
Not ideal for safari, and I guess the corks themselves will become frustrating, having them dangling around your face the whole time. So catch-22 there. Well, to the kind words from all the viewers regarding the technical difficulties that we are facing, thank you for your understanding. It's certainly from our side, we would much rather be broadcasting a crisp and clear feed so that, so there's one lone warthog here that I'm hoping to show you. It's an animal that we don't get to see very often, and it's joined in with some impala, which is a good move on his behalf. because being so short, it must be a very scary place to live in, as it's quite thick here. Warthogs typically do better in areas with more open grasslands where they can see predators approaching. And you'll notice I said that it's a male, and I haven't had a good look between his back legs yet I can still tell it's a male. Now, as he comes out from behind this bush, which in a little while I'm hoping he will, you'll notice on his face he's got these large protrusions or growths, and here he comes, and you can see he's got two, one below his eye and one just above his tusk, two on one side and two on the other. Obviously it's difficult for you to see the other side at the moment, but it's symmetrical, those growths, and two on each side, so 4 in total, is indicative of a male. The females will have only one growth on either side of their cheeks, and now you can see confirmation that he's a male as we begin to get a view of the rear. Well, he seemed to perform and parade as if he knew what we were talking about, in order to give you the full spectrum or full show of how to sex a warthog. The impala is a lot easier to sex. The males have got horns and the females don't. And that goes for a lot of the antelope in this area. Not all of them, but a lot of them, it's safe to say, the males have got horns and the females don't. Watching these impala like this now reminds me of yesterday morning watching some impala, a small bachelor herd like this. It could well even be the same herd. We'll have a look out for an impala with one horn, and that would confirm that it is the same bachelor herd. They do move in this area, and yesterday we saw them being stalked by the 2 Kunyuma lions, and you'll often assume a peaceful and calm setting like this would not have a predator nearby, but as we mentioned yesterday, there were lion approaching very nearby, and had we have just arrived we wouldn't have known that. Well, interestingly enough, Brent's also stumbled across some other antelope, including impala, but also different species. So let's cut across to Brent and see what he's got in store for you.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we've got some female kudu coming out onto the quarantine clearings. So what's quite interesting here is that even though the kudu are out in this very open area, and they are browsers, so they don't really eat grass, what they're doing is they're feeding on the small new shoots of, there's some small acacias and things like that are coming through, and they're feeding on those. So even though their heads are in the grass, they're not eating grass. Oh, there's a little baby as well if you go to the left. It's a tiny little baby. Oh, isn't he cute? That white tail pop up. How many we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that we can see so far. There might be a few more on the bush. And it's a group of females. We're just going to stand by where we are, and they're slowly making their way towards us. A nickname for the kudu in South Africa. It's not used everywhere, but one of the nicknames I've heard for them is the grey ghost. Because often in thicker bush, if you can see one kudu, there's probably about 4 you can't. They blend in so well when they're in the trees. And they've got some of the biggest ears. And that's because they are often in quite thick areas. And they rely a lot on their hearing for defense, even though their eyesight is also very, very good. Notice how their ears are constantly moving. They're like sort of big radar dishes. And oxpeckers in tow. So we've driven past a few herds of impala, and they're all making their way into the shade. It'll be quite interesting to see if the kudus do the same. 2 of them in the shade, but 5 of them are still not. Oh, look at that. How's that for a spot? I've actually seen more leopards in this animal we're about to show you since I've been at... Well, I've seen leopard more times than I've seen these since I've been at Djuma. And I just spotted one peeking her head through the trees. Let me just reposition. Oh, the kudu have spotted her as well. And we can actually, at the moment, all I can see is a little patch of skin. You see where I'm looking, Alex? It's moving. It's disappearing. More elusive than cats at the moment. I wonder if anyone can guess what we're looking at. Let me just move a little bit. You see that little patch of skin? You can zoom on it. So that's all I could see through the bush, but it is, oh, there we go, center of screen. So judging from that, let's get a bit tighter. So who can tell me what animal that is? Bottom right, just hang on, there we go. Oh, a little bit too far. There we go. There we go, it's moving. Just managed to catch those colors through the thick bush. Hopefully it will come out now. There we go. Just ahead now, giving away the game. But there's a female giraffe. We'll look at that. We'll go try to get a bit closer to the giraffe shortly. But as I said, like a lot of the animals now, as it gets hot, if we have a look at the, sorry Alex, if we go back to the kudu, all moving into the shade. It is getting quite warm now. I guess it's well over 30 degrees, so over 90 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. So what will happen is these animals will probably keep feeding for a little bit before finding somewhere in the shade to ruminate. Let's try see if we can get a better view of that giraffe. Well, if we didn't stop to look at the kudus, we wouldn't have spotted that little patch of color through the trees. Oh, let's just have one last look. That little baby kudu is so cute. Oh, he's gone behind mom. Its head popping through underneath. Suckling. Oh, it looks like that giraffe's on the move. Just there's a road just ahead that hopefully should take us right to where those giraffes are. Well, one giraffe is all I could see. There might be a few more. Okay. Where is this elusive giraffe now? Behind the kudus. You got it? What do you think? Forward a bit more? These bushes. Maybe if we go forward a little bit, might. There we go. All I can see is one, which is quite unusual. A female by herself, but there could be another one hiding. And just wait for Alice to get in. She's feeding off a flaky thorn. So feeding off acacia, which is one of their preferred foods. And we don't have that much acacia woodland in this area. That is why we don't see that many giraffe. Good morning, Bulla. Bulla has got a question. Would like to know why we call a kudu a bull and a nyala a ram. As far as I know, it's to do with size, and it's quite interesting. There's a cut-off species, which is quite strange because it's a mix of the two. So normally anything small would be a ram and a ewe, like sheep. So an impala ram and a ewe, a bushbuck ram and ewe. And then as you get to sort of the more medium antelope, what is that giraffe spotted? I'm just going to, sorry, well, I'll get back to your question in a second, but giraffe are very good at spotting things like leopards and whatnot because of their height. Just checking what she's looking at. She might have just seen a duiker or an impala or something, but just watch her behavior for a little bit. Unlikely, it is unlikely to be a predator because we had the kudu there and the impala there a bit earlier. But she's definitely spotted something. But sorry, Bulla, I'm just going to watch the giraffe carefully. But back to your question. So the species where everything changes is an inyala. So you have an inyala bull and an inyala ewe. So it's sort of the cross between. And then anything bigger than an inyala is a bull and a cow. And anything smaller than an inyala is a ram and a ewe. And inyala is the only one where the male is a bull and the cow is a ewe. I'm probably sure it's just to do with size, would be the answer. What have you seen? I think you're looking at impala. What can you see? I think she's seen a herd of impala, but through the bush, or even those kudu through the bush, and she's just making sure that it's not possibly a predator. And for those who are wondering, the tree she was feeding off, so the tree right in front of her that she was feeding off is an acacia, with an A-C-A-C-I-A, acacia. Also, the common name for that one is a flaky thorn, and the Latin name for that one is Acacia exuvialis. The way I learned to remember that Latin name is because it's so thorny, you'd have to be really exuberant to try run through it. So, Acacia exuvialis. Just going to move a little bit forward, possibly just see a bit better where she's looking, but I think she is looking at those kudu we were looking at. But as a prey species, it always pays to be overcautious. Let's just try to get behind her. Yes, she's looking at I think she's looking at those kudu. But she's obviously looking through the bush, so she's not seeing them on the open. And then we've also got a better view of some of those small acacias she's been feeding off. You can see those long white thorns in the bottom right-hand corner. Oxpecker on her eye as well. Yep. So normally you find female giraffe in groups. It is, I mean, it's not completely unusual, but it is slightly unusual to find one by itself. So I'm wondering, sorry, just 1 second, guys. Andrew, come in. Are we able to get questions and whatnot now? Copy, thanks. So I've got a question for you guys out there. Who can tell me what the old original Victorian English collective noun for giraffe is? Please send your answers via email to questions@wildearth.tv, or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. She's got actually very nice, rich coloring. And you get lots of different colors with giraffe, and a lot of people say it's to do with age and whatnot, but it's not always to do with age. Just like people have different tones of skin, giraffe have different coloration. So you can have lighter giraffe and darker giraffe. She's not as concerned as she was earlier when she first saw those kudu. Looks like she's going to move on, start feeding again. Let's just reposition so we can get a shot of her. So there we've got her feeding off that flaky thorn acacia. Jeez. Completely ignores those large, sharp thorns. I think the best description I've heard of a giraffe's mouth is like an old leather boot, which is probably what it feels like. Well, it is what it feels like. It feels like a really old leather boot. And Bulla has got it correct. The old Victorian collective noun for giraffe is a journey, although there is some record of a tower being used as well. So either a journey of giraffe or a tower of giraffe. Teresa also got it correct. She looks to be in very, very good condition, this giraffe. An incredibly long tongue that they wrap around those branches. Because you must remember, acacia leaves are actually very small. They're compound leaves. So there's lots of them, but they're very, very small and opposite each other on the stem. So to get enough sort of sustenance, she wraps her tongue around the branch and literally pulls all the little leaves. There we go. You see that tongue come out there? She's using her lips and tongue to get as many little leaflets from the acacia as possible. Yeah, about 4 or 5 oxpeckers on it as well. Oh, look at that. Just got into the edge of her eye, probably looking for ticks. Guys, it's been a wonderful drive this morning. Thanks very, very much for joining us. I had an amazing time. Seeing the leopard up the dead leadwood was definitely my highlight, and also some great elephant viewing from my side. And it's always nice to see giraffe. You don't see them too often here. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or morning or evening, and we hope to see you again this afternoon. And also, goodbye from Scott and Brian as well. They've already headed home. They were quite far from here. So have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you this afternoon, sorry.